Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about how to personalize your style in a way that will give you more confidence. So I'm going to take a different approach than what is commonly out there already. I'm not going to be talking about things like, what season am I, or trying to match our clothes to our skin tone, and we're not going to try to fit ourselves into the endless amount of trends that are already out there. Instead, I'm going to suggest that we, one, think about our personalities and who we are, and two, apply that to our outward appearance. So this is something that I've done, and I feel so much better with how I present myself now versus how I used to. I think confidence is all about knowing oneself, so hopefully this video will help you guys be able to show the world who you are through your clothing. So I've looked at different personality tests. I've done the Myers-Briggs one, as I'm sure most of us have, along with other ones that are out there. And I've also had many conversations with my sister, who has a degree in psychology, about personality traits. And I've observed the many different styles of clothing that are out there. Especially since my mom was a buyer for Nordstrom, she and I love talking fashion, and I've learned a lot from her. So I actually do know a good amount of information on this topic. And what I took away from all this research and information that I've received is that there seems to be these 4 archetypal categories of people that coincide with distinct styles. So I actually put together some color palettes that go with each category of person, as I like to call them. So you can just pull up the sheet. It has the palettes and some keywords that I'll be covering. It's a link in the description of the video below. It's just one sheet. It looks like this, if you guys can see that. I would actually recommend that you don't print it though, just because I got mine professionally printed and the colors still didn't come out as accurately as I was hoping for. So you can just pull it up on your phone or your laptop and that'll be perfect. So I just created it so that you guys have something tangible to hold on to in order to start this process. So just pull it up and then we can follow along with what I'm about to go into. As I go through these categories, just see if any one of them resonates with you, and feel free to ask yourself, is that me? Is that how I would describe myself? All right, let's get started. The first category of person is the super bubbly and spontaneous person. So they're really flexible with their plans. They always like to be out doing things, very social people. They have a very radiant and lighthearted quality to them. If you are in this category, then I am suggesting you wear colors that are like these. So ones that convey that liveliness. All the colors in your wardrobe will have an illuminated quality to them. So you can, of course, go lighter and darker than these, but they're all gonna have that same kind of feel to them, so illuminated. The second category of person is the calm and gentle person. So very different. They're more laid back. They have kind of a soft-spoken, quality to them. They are oftentimes more peaceful, and if you've often been described as being really sweet, then this could be you. And if you are in this category, then I'm suggesting you wear colors like these. So ones that convey that subtle and softness. All the colors in this palette will be dusty. So again, conveying that personality, that soft subtleness. The third category of person is the fiery and dynamic one. So these people are outgoing, they have a kind of push forward nature to them, and they're kind of known as like the go-getters. They can have an intensity to them. It can be a little intimidating, but yeah, so very sassy a little bit. They have an edginess to them. If you're in this category, then I suggest wearing colors like these. So if you guys can't tell, I am in this category, hence the cheetah print, which I love. But yeah, so all the colors in this palette will be very rich. So not dusty, not really illuminated, but rich. So again, matching the personality to the colors. And the fourth category of person is the classic and bold person. So these people are oftentimes reserved, and they can come across as a little bit mysterious because of that. And they're oftentimes analytical and have a poisedness to them. And if you are in this category, then I suggest wearing colors like these. You get the stripes the right way, that have that boldness to them and that reflects that kind of structured quality. So all the colors in this palette are going to be very saturated and pure. So for these 4 categories, I have the palettes, and they have 6 colors in one print. I'm not suggesting, of course, that you only wear 6 colors in one print. I am just trying to give you guys a feel for the different personality types. And if you are looking at the sheet, then you've probably noticed I included basics in there, so basic colors for each category. And that's just helpful because then you guys have a foundation to build off of. and I am aware that I made these more female oriented. So for the handful of guys that may be watching, you know, if you are this fun, spontaneous guy, then, you know, maybe instead of polka dot, you would go for a Hawaiian print. If you're the soft, gentle guy, then you would go for, you know, paisley maybe over floral. And if you are this little more intense guy, then you would go for a camo instead of cheetah print maybe. And for the bold and classic man, you can also wear stripe, of course, that's pretty unisex, but you can also do like a checkered or a plaid print. So a lot of those, you know, either gender can wear, but I'm just trying to give a more broad perspective on it so that the guys also feel included if you happen to be watching. Go ahead and look at the style reference and see which one of those categories applies to you and which don't at all. So you can also just think of words that you would use to describe yourself and see where they fit into this outline. So this is just the first step, thinking about who we are. The second step is to go to your wardrobe and look at everything you have and just ask yourself if those clothes are representative of the personality traits that you just assigned yourself. So a good way to start that process is to make two piles. So one of the things that you love and feel like are you, and a second pile of just things that you're not so sure of. So what you might find is that the pile of things that you love are true to your personality and have items that you would describe with words that are similar to the words that you just described yourself as. So that's kind of a key thing. Like I have some pieces of clothing where I'm like, yeah, that's a little fiery, that has energy to it that I can, you know, relate to. And there's other pieces where I'm like, oh, that is not me. So you can kind of do that, and we're trying to think of our personality in our clothing. So it's kind of weird, it's a different way of thinking, but this is just what I'm recommending. And it was really fascinating because my sister and I did this pile thing, and we are such completely different people, and that was reflected in our clothing preferences. So she has that soft, gentle quality. She's totally in this category, you know, and I have that different, more push forward, fiery side, and, you know, I was totally here. And yeah, it was just really interesting, and it works well with us. You know, I can wear this cheetah print confidently and I can feel good in it, but if my sister were to put it on, it would just be too much for her personality and presence. And while she looks really lovely in, you know, a soft lavender top, if I were to put that on, then I just feel like I am too much for that top, and like I need to bring my energy down a couple notches. So it's just feeling comfortable in your clothing and feeling like what you're wearing is representative of who you are. The question has come up, you know, can I cross over in these categories? And the answer is no. None of us need all four of these styles in our wardrobe. They are just too completely different for one person to be able to pull off each one of these looks equally well. So, you know, for example, for me, in no way do I relate to this palette. You know, if I were to put it on, no one would say, wow, Bella, you look terrible. You know, no one's gonna tell me that. But I also know that I won't feel completely like me. I won't feel my best, and that'll be reflected in my confidence, and other people will probably pick up on it. So you're just trying to avoid that disconnect between what you see and what you get when you're not dressing true to your personality. And with that being said, you might be genuinely stuck between two of these categories, and you're like, well, I love two of those palettes, and I can relate, I love these two. And while this one is very me, this one, I love these bright, fun colors, and I do have a bubbly side to me. We can have personality traits from the different categories, but when I'm thinking about myself, generally speaking, and overall, I know that my dominant personality traits fall into this category. This is 100% me. The other one, while I love it, isn't so much. So, you know, we're just trying to build off of one of those palettes. And you can still have so much variety just staying within a certain family. So I'm actually going to show you guys that with my own wardrobe, because I don't want you to feel, you know, limited by this process. It's actually very liberating to be able to walk into a store and eliminate half the clothing there because you're like, that's just not me. I'm not even going to go there. So it actually is a very beneficial process, and I will show you guys what I mean. So these are a handful of things from my wardrobe, and you can tell that they all relate, they all belong to the same person. If I were to put my palette down on top of it, you can see how, hopefully you can see with the lighting and everything, that it does go very well. And I actually laid out right here, I have a yellow, green, and pink, and then the same thing on the other side, but here they're, you know, this section's a lot darker than this lighter section. So I'm just showing you guys that you can have that variety between lighter and darker, and also with prints. So you might not think it, but it helps to hold up the palettes. Like for instance, this actually does go very well on top of this purple romper I have, and then same thing with this red dress, if you can see, and same thing, you know, with these colors over here. So you can kind of play with it. I can slap this palette down and see that in no way does this really relate at all to what's here. And same thing with this one. It's just too light, too bright for what I own. And then this one would probably be the second closest, but you can even still see that most of my colors are more rich compared to this more dusty quality that this palette has. So definitely most of my things fall into this category. You can see that with the camo in the back, even with this brighter red and these ones as well. And what's also kind of fun about doing this is that you can take certain pieces and you'll find that they actually go really well with ones that you might not have even thought. So for instance, this kind of mustard color goes pretty well with my purple romper. Oops. So does this olive one. It looks pretty nice against it. You can see that. And so yeah, you can just kind of play with it. I wish these colors were coming across a little bit better. This is actually kind of a like celery green, but yeah, you guys, I just wanted to show you guys that you can have a lot of variety with your clothes, and that putting down the palettes is really helpful. So you can just have them on your phone, since printing it might not be very accurate, but yeah, I can see that these aren't really going, and that this one probably goes the best with my things. When it comes down to it, having too many choices doesn't help us to make good ones anyway. I don't feel like I'm missing out on buying a bunch of black basics or pastels. They're not my favorite, and more importantly, they're just not me. So this isn't a shallow exercise. It's more than just clothes and styling. The first step in increasing your confidence is self-discovery, which is what this process is supposed to help you do. So the goal is to know yourself well enough where others will be able to recognize who you are the minute you walk into a room through how you're presenting yourself. So have fun with it, hold up the palettes, look at everything you have, and you know, if you're struggling to find a way to match your personality to your clothes, then hopefully the reference sheet in the description below helps you guys. And thank you so much for listening. I know this can be a lot to take in, but hopefully it's fun, and if you were able to immediately recognize yourself in one of the categories that I presented, then comment below. I'd love to hear you guys' feedback. And thank you so much again. Next week I'll be posting a yoga workout video, so if you guys are interested in that or want to try something new and you've never done it before, then please join me, and thank you guys so much for listening.